This was taken by my boyfriend up in the mountains above Albuquerque. And those were the days when we wore dresses, even on casual days. Most girls don't anymore. It's pants. But anyway, I was born in 1938 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And the reason that we were there was my dad was teaching physical education at the LSU, Louisiana State University. And they went down there right after they got married and had 2 children there, me and my brother. And then World War II started, and Dad volunteered for the Army Air Corps. And because of that, we were transferred all over the South. My parents both had master's degrees. They came from fairly rural backgrounds. In those days, there were a lot more people living on farms than there are now. And we actually lived very frugally. When I grew up, we didn't have a lot of money. And so after I graduated from high school, I was valedictorian, and I applied to Vanderbilt University. You know, you start all over again when you go away to college. Made good grades there. I ended up Phi Beta Kappa and president of my sorority and Women's Association as well. So I was very active on campus in addition to studying hard. I majored in math at Vanderbilt and got my master's in math at Northwestern University. While I was there in the spring of the year that I spent there for my master's, there were companies coming on campus to interview students, and of course everybody wanted to get a job, and so I was starting to pay attention to where I could interview, and I was very interested in interviewing with places that would fly me, you know, to the other. I hadn't seen half of the country. I had never been to California. I had not been to Texas, and so I managed to talk to people on the campus there at Northwestern and got an interview scheduled at JPL in Pasadena. When I got there, okay, I fell in love with the place. And so when I got back to Chicago, they had told me that they would probably be making me an offer. I waited until I got the letter of offer, and then I canceled my interview with Texas Instruments in Dallas. I thought, I've died and gone to heaven. I want to go to Pasadena. You know, it was like being in an academic environment where we didn't have to punch the clock. We had flexible schedules and exciting, really exciting work. And by the time I got to JPL, we were well into the space race with the Russians. And we had, JPL had fired off or tried to launch at least 2 or 3 spacecraft to the moon, and there were launch failures on a couple of them, and then there was some other propulsion problem on another one. But after we got there, we were able to have successful missions to the moon. And the first day on the job, I met my future husband. We were both checking in, and we met each other being fingerprinted. And I looked at him across the room when we first were checking in, and I thought, he's cute, but he's too young for me, because he always looked really young. And so it turned out he was 5.5 years older. So when they took me down to my office and to meet the people in the group I was going to be working with, they took me around the building and introduced me to everybody in the section, not just my group. And 2 doors down from my office was the office of Tom, my future husband. And so we had decided pretty quick after that it was meant to be. It took about an hour and a half, yeah. About a year and a half actually, for him to decide he was ready to get married. But we started dating right away. And we had wonderful 50-year marriage. 10 years each other. I feel that my most important accomplishment in my life was having my 2 children and raising them to be really outstanding, caring adults. To me, that's number one. That was always my number one priority. And my career was fun, but but being a mother and having them turn out the way they did was far more important, and I felt like it was a wonderful accomplishment. They got them both through college, and no, they've done very well. And now I have 5 beautiful grandchildren, and I feel the same way about them.